Mr. President, are you reconsidering the nomination of Matt Gaetz?
No.
How could you nominate someone with allegations of child trafficking trafficking across state lines and having sex with a 17-year-old? My understanding, further on in the interview, they discussed the fact that once he finds out that she's 17, he stops having sex with her.
Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism, that DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
We'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Vary. That's Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. And Matt Gaetz must be over the target if they are this hell-bent on stopping him from becoming the Attorney General of the United States. There's no other explanation. They can use this ethics report as their excuse, but you could open an ethics report on pretty much every member of Congress because they actually have a fund that they use to pay people off to make things go away. Let's open that up. Matt Gaetz' ethics report, like I said the other day, would be leaked, and now it appears that somebody hacked into it and has access to it. How did that happen? Who hacked into it? Who paid that person to hack into it? I'd like to know, wouldn't you? It was great watching Sunny Hostin literally choke on that crow right there, where she had to read a legal note after she smeared and besmirched Matt Gaetz over allegations. Nothing has ever been proven. So let's get into this. A little CNN, a little bit of some rhino senators that we're going to get into, and we'll talk about it along the way. Let's go.
I think if there is an ethics report out there that is being or that has been completed, then I think the Senate is going to want to see it. It may very well speed up the vetting process. On the other hand, if it's not available and we have to recreate it ourselves, that would delay our ability to make a decision on a very critical nominee.
Mike Rounds is a rhino. Mike Rounds voted to confirm Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland is the single most tyrannical attorney general in the history of the United States. Mike Rounds is one of the problems. He's another guy that has to be primaried and gotten rid of, and hopefully whenever he is up for re-election, that happens.
A recess appoint any of these nominees who were rejected by the Senate.
I think a recess appointment is going to be very challenging.
Getting new information about very confidential files that were breached, including a deposition with a woman who says she had sex with Gaetz when she was 17 years old. CNN's chief legal affairs correspondent, Paula Reed, is working the story for us. What are you learning, Paula?
It's very confidential, but it's been breached. Must not be that confidential, I guess. I guess they're not doing too good of a job.
Well, Wolf, yesterday we reported on this civil litigation down in Florida. This is a lawsuit brought by a friend of former Congressman Matt Gaetz. And as a result of this lawsuit, through the discovery process, they created this whole new trove of evidence, including depositions with, as you just noted, the woman who says she was just 17 when she had sex with Gaetz, as well as other women who were at the party when this alleged encounter took place. They've created this evidence that sources tell us the House Ethics Committee has used in its probe. We've been told that the Ethics Committee has really looked at this lawsuit as a roadmap in terms of who to talk to and what kind of evidence they can gather. And we have learned that some of the records in this case, they are confidential, including that deposition with the 17-year-old girl that is under seal. It's only available to the lawyers involved in the case. And these confidential records, they are stored in a secure online document sharing system. And we've learned that lawyers in the case were notified by another lawyer yesterday that that secure online system was accessed by an unknown third party who had access to that sensitive material that, again, we believe is similar to what could be in the House ethics report. Now, we asked at least one of the lawyers if they had notified authorities about this third party breach, but we haven't gotten a comment. And of course, this development comes as the House Ethics Committee is going to meet tomorrow to discuss that report. It's unclear, though, if that report will be released.
Again, who breached it? Who's this third party? Who do they work for? Can somebody find this stuff out? I tell you, the FBI could find you in probably a half hour anywhere in the country if they wanted to. And we can never find these people that leak this stuff and break the law and hack into things when it affects the conservative side. If it was the other way around, they'd have this person in handcuffs already. It would be over. Whoever did this would already be in handcuffs. It would be the biggest national security breach in the history of the country. This can't happen. This, that. Here it's just, oh yeah, it's a third person. We asked the lawyers if they, and then we'll find out, but not really, because we really don't care. We just want the report because we want it, because it's going to make a conservative look bad. You guys seeing how this works?
Would like to see
Queen of the Rhinos right here.
our committees do their full job. I'm not interested in a process that would just say, well, because the president has named him and you have Republican chairs coming into the new Congress, that we just move people out. There needs to be legitimate vetting. When I say legitimate, I mean just thorough vetting that the committees do. This is our job.
If this was a Democrat, and let's just reverse the parties, the incoming Democrat president, Democrat-controlled Senate, Democrat-controlled House, with this type of a mandate that Trump just got, they would never, the Democrats, ever play this game and turn this report over. It would never, ever happen. They would form a brick wall bigger than the Great Wall of China to stop anything from being released, and they would ram this person through. Republicans, she's not a Republican. I believe a lot of these Republicans, like Lisa Murkowski, are really Democrats that ran as Republicans to get elected in the state or the district that they wanted to be elected in. That's it. Lisa Murkowski is a Democrat. Democrats would never let this happen to their president's pick. Ever. Over this, not a chance. He would be rammed through. And as I said, they would form a brick wall and it would be over. And the media would be playing right along with it. When it's Republican, you have these fake Republicans, these rhinos who are going to cave, and you're going to have the media full court pressing any Republican who might be a little bit spineless into breaking. And that's what's going on.
Don't these sexual misconduct allegations, including sex with a minor, give you pause?
Well, this is what I mean. This is the right response to that, Manu, is we can either play the hearsay game where it's drip, 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 this person said this person said that, or we could say we're going to move forward with the confirmation process and we're going to allow him to address all of this and lay out his vision for the department.
Sexual misconduct or statutory rape in the case of Matt Gaetz is disqualifying.
Listen, Spartacus. Hey, Spartacus, remember the Brett Kavanaugh hearings with Spartacus right there? These are allegations that have never been proven. You can't just lob allegations at people to destroy their life. If it's true, like I said in my video the other day, throw these people, if they're guilty, bury them under the prison. But you can't lob allegations that were investigated, allegations that were not sufficient, evidence not sufficient enough to press charges or bring charges, and then say it's disqualifying. I'm sorry. It doesn't work this way in the United States of America. These people are tyrants. They're tyrants. And this needs to stop. And you know what? I feel horrible for actual victims who are now, it's called the girl who cried grapes. That's what this has turned into. And there's no such thing as her truth or his truth. There's the truth. The truth. And if the truth is that allegations and evidence wasn't sufficient enough to bring charges or prove somebody guilty in a court of law, they are not guilty. And that should not disqualify somebody then.
Elon Musk, who posted this about him on social media, quoting now, Matt Gaetz has 3 critical assets that are needed for the AG role: a big brain, a spine of steel, and an axe to grind. He is the Judge Dredd America needs to clean up a corrupt system and put powerful bad actors in prison. Gaetz, he concludes, will be our hammer of justice.
That's what I mean. I think he's over the target, and they're scared.
Gaetz, the Gaetz pick, and how far the president-elect may be willing to go for it. Joining us, Republican strategist Sir Michael Singleton, former Pennsylvania Republican Congressman Charlie Dent, and journalist Gretchen Carlson, co-founder of the organization.
Charlie Dent is a rhino and never Trumper.
Lift our voices. I mean, Gretchen, given the kind of drip on this so far, and who knows if this thing has been hacked, what may come out, how far do you think the president-elect will go to keep Gaetz?
Yeah, look, I think the headline in this whole story is being vastly undersold. It's interesting to me that 3 of Trump's top 3 picks have sexual misconduct allegations against them. You know, as an advocate for women.
So that's what I'm saying right there. They have allegations against them. That's it. They should be disqualified. They have allegations. No. You can't play this game. You played this game with Brett Kavanaugh, and you lost. You know why? Because Trump didn't back down. He was the first Republican to ever have the guts to say, I think these allegations are baseless. They seem baseless. I'm sticking by my guy until you prove otherwise. And if you can't prove otherwise, he's getting in. That's it. Oh, there are allegations. You realize what you do to some... If we allow this to keep happening, the way people's lives are just destroyed over something just because somebody doesn't like them and says, oh, he did this, she did this. No, it doesn't work that way.
Women and girls on these issues, and on behalf of so many women, we find it highly offensive that that's not an automatic disqualifier off the bat. And the idea that that can just be brushed aside and never mentioned, and that
nobody's brushing it aside. It was investigated thoroughly. And to this point, there's been not enough evidence to charge him with anything. So if he becomes an attorney general and new evidence comes to light, and it's damning evidence and it's legitimate evidence and it could be proven, then he will be removed. But you can't just say it's disqualifying because somebody has allegations against them.
Matt Gaetz is going to be a hammer for justice. Well, that's why releasing this report is so important.
No, that's what you're afraid of.
There are survivors of sexual misconduct in Congress. So I'm hoping that they have a conscience along.
Don't conflate two things. These people if they're survivors of actual sexual misconduct, don't conflate that stuff that has been proven to allegations. Stop conflating the two. They conflate everything to meet their narrative.
With other people. You know, you have Senators Grassley and Cornyn, Republicans on Senate Judiciary, which is responsible for investigating these appointees or nominations. They're asking for the House Ethics Report to be released. And if it's not tomorrow, look, there are other ways this could happen. It could be leaked.
Yeah, see? It could be leaked. If this was a Democrat and somebody was saying this, a Republican was on television saying this, they would be crucified. What are you? You're calling for a confidential report to be leaked? Well, are you complicit in it? See what I mean? The double standards. They have double standards for their double standards.
And it could also be shared in secret over at the House if the senators just went over to look at it.
No. Doesn't work that way. In secret, if they just went over to look at it. What are these people? They make this up as they go. They make up this crap as they go.
Congressman, do you think if the House Ethics Chair, you were the former House Ethics Chair, do you think if the committee's meeting proceeds as scheduled tomorrow, that the Gaetz report will be released? I mean, we should remind people the Ethics Committee is pretty unique. It's evenly split between Republicans and Democrats.
Well, hard to say what the committee will do. I don't think the Speaker did. Mike Gaetz, the chairman of the committee, who's a good man, put him in a tough spot. But look, this report, I believe, does need to be released. Ordinarily, when a member of Congress resigns because of a scandal, they usually go away quietly. They go about the business of reconstructing their lives, relationships with family members, and their reputations.
Hold on a minute. If somebody resigned because of a scandal and you just let them go, that should be the standard then. They resigned. They're out of Congress. But because Matt Gaetz wants to stay in government, we're going to change that. No, he resigned, but no, we got to go after him still with this report because, it's Trump's guy and he's going to overturn the justice system a little bit and uncover the corruption, right? So no, you can't, again, double standards. He wants it both ways. Usually when people resign, they just go and we let them rebuild their lives. So no matter what they do, if they resign and you just let them go rebuild their lives, well, he resigned. He's rebuilding his life by becoming the Attorney General.
They don't get elevated to the Attorney General of the United States, the top law enforcement officer of the country. And we have, as Gretchen pointed out, the United States Senate, as part of their official record and official duties in this confirmation process, want to see this report before they vote on this really important position. So
Congressman, you do know you are referring to a time when there was shame.
Here we go. Anderson, this is why these people will never recover CNN. We have a supposed news anchor throwing in his political opinion.
Yeah, I understand that, Anderson. But still, look, Matt Gaetz, there are ways to get this report.
Is he talking about shame like when Bill Clinton was president with Monica Lewinsky? I'm just curious.
Out if the committee chooses not to send it out. A member can go to the floor of the House and make a motion essentially to have it released from the committee. And then there would be a vote of the full House. And given the fact that Matt Gaetz doesn't have a whole lot of friends in the House of Representatives, I suspect that motion would pass overwhelmingly. So I think it would behoove everybody if they just simply released it. I was chairman of the committee. There's plenty of precedent for releasing reports of former members. One for sexual misconduct in 1990. The individual was involved with sex with a 16-year-old. And the report was released after he resigned. And there are other cases like that. So I don't understand what the big fuss is.
Sure, Michael. I mean, Elon Musk is saying it's great that Gaetz has a, quote, axe to grind. I mean, is that a great quality to have in an attorney general?
Well, look, I think the president...
Elon Musk isn't the president, okay? Elon Musk didn't nominate him, okay? So why, again, conflating Elon Musk now with Donald Trump? Donald Trump
pretty clear about what he expects out of many of the individuals he's appointed, and that is to completely shake up many of these agencies, particularly the Department of Justice, based on his experiences, his legal experiences, that is. And he's been pretty clear that he believes federal prosecutors have too much influence, too much power, and a significant amount of discretion that he would like to see changed or limited. And I think a lot of Americans would probably agree with that. As a political strategist, however, I'm looking at this from two different perspectives. If you're
but you think a lot of Americans would agree that it's good to have an axe to grind?
I think a lot of Americans would agree that the Department of Justice needs to radically be changed.
Actually, yes, we would.
I mean, I think if you found yourself prosecuted on trumped-up charges, let's say you're not a wealthy individual or a powerful individual such as the president-elect, you would probably look at the criminal justice system and say this system does not work for the vast majority of people, particularly if you're poor. That's my point.
Do you,
With that
but
said-
do you think?
Sure,
but do you think Gaetz is being sent there to cure the ills of the criminal justice system as it relates to people who are underserved and can't afford a train?
No, he's going there to find the corruption, which led to Trump being targeted. And that's why a lot of people related to him, because they felt they've been targeted by the justice system. See how that works, Anderson? I know you wouldn't get it. Vanderbilt. That's his last name, by the way. Vanderbilt. Look that up.
Which is certainly a valid point that, yes, obviously, if you have can afford an attorney, you have a better chance somebody gets a public defender who are overworked and understaffed. But I don't think that's what he's aiming to do. Do you?
Well, I think the president-elect's premise is pretty clear on this point. Radically transform and shake up the agency. And I think a part of shaking up the agency would be indeed limiting the power of some of those federal prosecutors who have a significant amount of power, which oftentimes go unchecked. And so we could argue whether or not Gaetz or someone else is the best person to move forward with that agenda. But I think the premise of the agenda remains consistent, whether it's Gaetz or ultimately someone else who's confirmed by the U.S. Senate.
Congressman, just to respond to that, I mean, as somebody who served, is an axe to grind a quality?
He's not a congressman anymore. Stop calling him that. That's only for like presidents and like generals and colonels. Stop. And the Speaker of the House and whatever, senators sometimes get that. But he's a congressman. Stop calling him that. He's not in Congress anymore. Nobody calls me sergeant anymore. All right, I'm retired.
Want an attorney general?
No, absolutely not. In fact, you want an attorney.
Merrick Garland has had an axe to grind since he walked in the door because the Republicans stopped him from becoming a justice. You dope.
Attorney General who's going to exercise measured judgment and discretion. This is a really powerful position, and you need somebody there who's not going there to torch the place.
They don't hear themselves when they speak. They're so Trump deranged. Their brains are so snapped. They don't hear themselves when they speak.
To burn it down. I mean, sure, the Department of Justice needs reform like so many of our departments do. But we have people there who I just can't have somebody in there who does have an axe to grind and wants to destroy the place. I mean, they're upset about what? That Trump is being prosecuted over his handling of classified documents? Had I done that, I'd have been taken out in handcuffs.
Would you? Was Joe Biden? Joe Biden was never put in handcuffs. Oh, interesting.
As a member of Congress. I mean, that's what I'm trying to understand. I mean, what's the problem?
And Merrick Garland made that decision, didn't he? His Department of Justice?
Here.
Gretchen, it does seem for, obviously the former president, now the president-elect, has railed about the weaponization of the FBI, the Department of Justice. I mean, setting up Matt Gaetz to be the Attorney General with an axe to grind, I mean, that is a weapon.
That serves right into Trump's dialogue about what he was going to do, right? And we've said from the start, at least I have, that I believe everything he says. He said we're going
Good, you should. We believe him too. That's why we voted for him.
To get rid of the enemy within. And he feels he was wrongly accused and prosecuted, and he somehow convinced a heck of a lot of voters that that was the case.
You're stupid, everybody. Everybody who voted for Trump, you're stupid, okay? You were duped. You were convinced. You didn't see, hear, and use your brain and your common sense to realize that what Trump was saying and what was happening to him was actually what was happening to him, okay? You were convinced by Trump, okay? You're a dummy. Just remember that.
So I guess he's looking at this like an eye for an eye. He's going to put somebody in there and get his justice. But I still go back to what I said earlier, is that we should be discussing what disqualifies Gaetz from the beginning, which is this sexual misconduct charge, potentially.
It's not a charge. He's alleged. Again, see? And then she's going to correct herself. But they can't help themselves. So there you go. Is Trump playing some like 4D chess here again with Gaetz, knowing that he's not going to be able to get him through? I think he's going to stand by him as long as he can, but does he know he's not going to get him through? And then he's going to hit them with somebody even more of a hammer than Gaetz? A more quiet hammer? Under the radar hammer? It's possible. It's possible. Needless to say, it's already interesting. It's going to be real interesting to see how this turns out over the next week, 2 weeks, going forward. So I just said again, though, we need to stop. And the Democrats did this to themselves with Christine Blasey Ford, with Brett Kavanaugh. That was, going back to the man's yearbook in high school, I believe. They were going back to his yearbook in high school. That's how pathetic and desperate that was. And like I said now, then you led into the whole, Me Too and all that stuff. And now, like I said, it's turned into, unfortunately, the girl who cried grapes. That's what we have. And it's awful. It's awful to have that. Because, of course, there's things that happen. And any allegation should be investigated. That's fine. But once it's clear that, first of all, if it's a false allegation, the person that made the false accusation should be charged. That would stop a lot of this and get things back into the center and back on our axis. That should happen. So they've done this to themselves, the people that did. Gaetz should just be disqualified. No. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. Because last time, it all turned out to be nonsense. Has anybody ever heard of Christine Blasey Ford again with Brett Kavanaugh? No. Nothing. It's gone. Went away. Like it never happened. Like a Jedi mind trick. You didn't see that. Never happened. So this stuff has to stop. And he needs to stand behind Gaetz, whether he gets through or not. Whether the Senate has the guts, the Republicans have the guts to get him through or not, he needs to stand behind him to the bitter end. And if he doesn't get through, nominate somebody else. I'm sure he has somebody in mind already who, like I said, is going to be a more quiet but even more effective hammer. I think I'm right. We'll see. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Continue to follow me at Opinions Vary.